Once a proud knight, Hecarim rode with his cavalry across the Blessed Isles, until the ruination consumed them all. Twisted by its dark power, he became a monstrous fusion of a man and beast, cursed to hunt the living for eternity. Now, when the black mist spreads its grip over Runeterra, he charges at its forefront, his armored hooves pounding the earth as he revels in the carnage, leaving only shattered souls in his wake. Welcome, lore lovers, to another deep dive into the legends of Runeterra. Today, we delve into the tale of Hecarim, the spectral warlord whose hunger for glory doomed the Blessed Isles and bound him to an eternity of carnage. Born in a long-forgotten empire, Hecarim rose through the ranks of the Iron Order, his victories on the battlefield forging his name in blood and steel. A knight commander saw in him a capable successor, but also a dangerous hunger for glory and corroded his honor. Determined that such ambition should never lead the order, the commander withheld the mantle of leadership. Hecarim seated but masked his fury, waiting for the right moment. That moment came in their next battle, when the commander was cut off, surrounded by foes. Hecarim turned away, leaving him to his fate. When the fighting ended, the Iron Order, unaware of his betrayal, knelt before him as their new leader. He rode to the capital to swear his oaths and met Kalista, the king's trusted general. Impressed by his skill, she welcomed the Iron Order's loyalty, leaving them a steadfast force to guard the throne as she departed in search of a cure for the poisoned queen. As paranoia consumed the king, he saw enemies lurking in every shadow. He sent Hecarim to silence those who dared speak against him, and under his command, the Iron Order became a force of terror. Villages burned, towns were razed, and countless lives were claimed by the sword. When the queen finally succumbed to her wounds, Hecarim twisted the king's grief into fury, urging him to wage war on foreign lands in her name. But before they could march, Kalista returned, bearing the cure she had sought from the Blessed Isles. Too late. The king, lost in madness, branded her a traitor and had her imprisoned. Intrigued by her stories, Hecarim visited her cell. She spoke of the pale mists that shrouded the Blessed Isles, their hidden wealth, and the fabled waters of life. Sensing an opportunity, he convinced her to guide the king's fleet through the veil that concealed the island sanctuary. They arrived in Helia, the queen's body carried in solemn procession. But when the city's masters refused to grant them aid, the king, blind by rage, ordered Kalista to slaughter them. She refused, and that was when Hecarim made his fateful choice. With a smirk, he drove his spear through her back, sealing his betrayal. As she fell, he unleashed the Iron Order upon the city, pillaging its vaults and drowning Helia in blood and fire. Amid the chaos, a lowly custodian agreed to grant the king access to the waters of life, but not even this could distract Hecarim from the revelry of bloodshed, and so it was that the ruination of the Blessed Isles would take him almost completely by surprise. A blast wave of magical force tore across Helia, shattering every last building and leaving the fragments suspended in searing unlight. In its wake came the black mist, a billowing hurricane that dragged every living creature it touched into its shrieking, roiling embrace. Hecarim tried to rally the Iron Order, hoping to make it back to their ships, but the mist claimed them one by one as they fled. Alone and defiant to the end, the Knight Commander was taken by the shadows. He and his mighty steed were fused into a monstrous, spectral abomination that reflected the darkness in Hecarim's heart, a brazen creature of fury and spite, at one with the black mist and yet utterly enslaved by it. Bound forevermore to these Shadow Isles, Hecarim has spent centuries in a sinister mockery of his former life, cursed to patrol the nightmarish lands he once intended to conquer. Whenever the black mist reaches out beyond their shores, he and the otherworldly host of the Iron Order ride out to slaughter the living in memory of glories long past. If you are enjoying this journey through the dark legends of Runeterra, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support helps Lion-Drag grow, allowing me to bring you even more lore-filled stories. Hit that button and let's keep the tales flowing. After his transformation, he started to hunt every living thing on the islands, and we have an insight about how he acts when some unfortunate people get stuck on the islands. The icy waves crashed against the bloodstained shore, the air thick with the scent of death. The survivors, scrambling toward their ship, tried to make a desperate retreat, but Hecarim savored the fear in the air. They locked their shields, trying to stand strong, but it was no use. They were mortals, and he was a nightmare made flesh, moving through the ruins like a ghost in the mist. His hooves sparked against the black rocks, breaking their resolve. Through his visor, he watched their flickering spirits. Weak and fragile, he muttered, "No one lives," his voice like the scraping of rusted iron. One man broke, flinging his shield away and running for the waves. Hecarim surged forward, his glaive cutting him down with a single, brutal blow. The man's soul twisted in the mist, forever bound to the darkness. Drawing on the island's power, Hecarim called forth the dead. From the roiling surf, spectral knights in ghostly armor rose, black swords gleaming with dark light. They had once served him, though their faces and names were forgotten. Revealed in full, Hecarim stood like a nightmarish hybrid of a man and beast, his armor etched with ancient runes and his eyes burning with an eternal hate. As lightning split the sky, he led the charge. The mortals tried to raise their shields, but Hecarim's strike shattered their defenses. His glaive swung left and right, ending lives with each cut. The ghostly knights trampled over the broken bodies, striking down the living in a storm of hooves and steel. Blood sprayed, bones cracked, and mortal souls were torn from their bodies, trapped between life and death by the dark magic of the ruined king. Hecarim did not care for the wailing spirits. He sought only the thrill of the slaughter, his hunger for death unquenchable. The dead may have circled around him, but it was the living he wanted, his blade cutting through them, one soul at a time. From his lore, we can see some of his relations with other known champions. Hecarim rode beneath the banner of the Iron Order, sworn to protect the king's realm, but loyalty was not in his nature. He cared nothing for Viego, following only because it granted him free rein to pillage and conquer without restraint. But his betrayal had not been forgotten. Callista, once his ally, now hunted him relentlessly, seeking vengeance for the ruin he had wrought upon the Blessed Isles. His treachery had turned them into the accursed Shadow Isles, their people twisted into undying horrors. When the black mist reached Bilgewater, Hecarim led its charge, cutting through all who stood in his way. Yet, against misfortune and Ilawi, his onslaught faltered. The sea priestess called upon the power of her god, and the spectral knight found himself driven back, the tide of divine wrath forcing him to retreat into the darkness once more. That was the grim and haunting tale of Hecarim, a knight whose lust for power condemned him to an unending hunt. If you enjoyed this dive into his tragic fate, be sure to like, share and subscribe. And for those who want to keep the lore discussions going, join our Discord, where we are building a cozy community of lore lovers just like you. Until next time, keep the legends alive.